Let's get into it. Higher, Joshua Dobbs, who we just talked about a little bit. He's playing against the Saints. You like him at quarterback 12, 3 higher than the experts who like him at 15.
Yeah, absolutely. Dobbs now back-to-back 25-point weeks. And what makes that even more impressive, especially last week, he didn't even know his teammates' names, let alone the playbook there. He just came in and they kind of wung it on the fly, did a ton of his damage on the ground, 66 yards and a touchdown, in addition to 2 touchdowns through the air as well. I mean, we saw it in Arizona, and now he goes to a system that's more efficient. Kevin O'Connell, a really solid play caller, and he's got way better weapons here. So he found space all day because you gotta really play man coverage and try to limit Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, especially when Justin Jefferson comes back. Man, I can't wait for that. But yeah, this is a great spot for Josh Dobbs. Not a bad matchup at all. In New Orleans, sure, not the best of spots. It's a little bit below average of a matchup, but they've been getting pretty bombed these last couple weeks here. So I like Josh Dobbs in general just because of the leg points that he can add. Is there anyone you'd rather root for? I really think he's about to go on a kind of heroic. His stretch run schedule is beautiful. This is one of the worst matchups he has left, and it's really not even that bad. I something in my gut just tells me by the end of the fantasy season, if you were desperate at quarterback and you made the plunge on Josh Dobbs, you're going to be really happy with your decision. I love the guy. I'm really excited to keep rooting for him.
I hope you're right. I'm pulling for him too.
Yeah.
You also like Will Levis. He's going at the Bucks. He's their QB 15. You like him, or he's your QB 15. You like him two better than the experts, and he's officially the QB 1, right?
Yeah, he's been officially named the starter, and what a perfect time facing the Bucks. We just saw another rookie. I know CJ Stroud's a different level right now than Will Levis, but 470 yards and 5 touchdowns against them. The Bucks have been getting bombed all year, though. They have not been a good defense. Yeah. Second most points allowed to quarterbacks, and I love this. Will I mean, if he was in an offense that threw at a higher clip, arm talent-wise, there were some throws that he made last Thursday night that falling on his back foot and just flicks his wrist and the ball floats effortlessly, drops it in the bucket. Like, I really like this kid. I wish he was in a more pass-happy offense, a more fast-paced team. But either way, we already saw a 4-touchdown day in his debut, a 12.3 ADOT. He followed it up with an 11 ADOT. So they are not afraid to let the kid sling. And I know last week, only 262 scoreless yards, didn't get a ton done. Less designed runs, 6 designed runs his first week, barely any the next week. But he started with 26.6 fantasy points. And last week in a tougher spot there against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. Now officially the starter. Maybe they open the playbook up a little bit. Vrabel himself said, we got to keep seeing what we got here. It's something. There's clearly something there with Levis. So I'm very excited to see if they unlock the offense a little bit more. And they certainly got a great spot to do it against the Tampa Bay team. And again, I know Stroud is at a different level just overall as a quarterback, but Will Levis, arm talent-wise, I think is right there. And there, again, he was just dropping dimes all over the place. I'm a really big fan of Baker on the other side of things. I also really like, and I think this game has that ugly, sneaky shootout, just like we saw against the Texans last week. That game ended up being, 38-33, out of nowhere. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if we get a similar game script here with this one, and Will Levis has himself a monster.
I saw a graphic on however many games Baker has started in his career. Let's say it's like 68 games or 80 games or something like that, and it put it next to Tom Brady's first 68 or 80 games. They have identical numbers.
No, come on.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you they do. I mean, I suppose it's possible whoever put the graphic up was just lying, but I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Well, they probably didn't include wins. Maybe statistically.
No, there were not wins. No, he certainly does not have the win-loss record. I'm just talking about fantasy numbers.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
It was still pretty impressive to see.
That is. Right. I mean, yeah, because he gets such a bad knock. He really has been. Baker has been baking this year, and he's in that conversation
his numbers are pretty good.
It's an interesting quarterback week for sure. Like, again, with all those guys on bye, just to kind of recap this kind of cluster here, I have Josh Dobbs at 12, Kyler Murray 13, Baker Mayfield 14, Will Levis 15. Like, I'm really a big fan of all these guys as potential fill-in streamers for you for sure.
All right, let's talk lower. And NC Firearms has a super chat for us. NC Firearms, we'll hit that in like just a second after we do lower and Hail Mary, okay?
Absolutely.
Russell Wilson, you got one guy's going at Buffalo. You like him at QB 17, 4 below the experts. I'm assuming this is just completely based on the matchup.
Yeah, Buffalo, third hardest matchup for quarterbacks. And I mean, we're talking about a guy had 19 pass attempts last week. They will run the shit out of the ball as long as they can. And honestly, We saw Javonte Williams, 22 carries last week. This is definitely one of the biggest run funnel defenses in the entire NFL. A top 10 matchup for running backs, a bottom 3 matchup for quarterbacks. 114 and 194 and 95 yards across his last 3 games, 196 the week before that. So he hasn't even hit 200 yards in his last 4 games, Russell Wilson. And he's actually had okay touchdown numbers. So his fantasy stats have stayed relatively okay. But you're playing with fire here on such low volume. I don't bet that touchdown efficiency will continue in a very, very tough matchup against Buffalo. I think they will ride Javonte Williams as long as they can this week. Not a fan of Russell Wilson. I have all those guys again. Josh Dobbs, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Will Levis. There's so many options that are out there in leagues. Go with one of them instead of Russell Wilson for sure.
All right, Hail Mary. Joshua Dobbs is actually up to 49% rostered, so not sure if he counts. Obviously, we like him if you can take a stab at him and get him. But Taylor Heinicke, you have 17% rostered. That's a guy you're probably going with, right?
Yeah, I love it. In 2 games so far this year, and one of them was just really a half, 9.5 ADOT in both times he's got field time. Something that Desmond Ridder did 0 times this year. So he's definitely slinging it deep, letting his receivers go make plays. He had 16 points last week. Is that anything to write home about? No, not really. But he didn't have Drake London here. Certainly slinging it out more and gets Arizona 9th most points allowed to quarterbacks and particularly susceptible to the big play, especially if Kyler Murray comes in and there's not a ton of rust and they create a little bit of a shootout narrative here. I love Taylor Heinicke. 3 rushes for 20 yards. Nothing crazy, but he has that bonus leg point ability. We saw it all the time there with Washington last year. So, yeah, sure, the interception was horrendous, and we've come to know that with Taylor Heinicke. But a solid 16-point effort again last week. And in a half, he had about 14 points the week before. So maybe it all comes together with a fully healthy receiving core here and a right matchup. I don't mind him at all. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.